Hi there, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is going to be how to make the True Colors blanket, a blanket that was inspired by the song True Colors by Cyndi Lauper. And yeah, we're just going to jump right in. We're going to get started. The blanket is made up of panels using this stitch here, which is called the blocked box stitch. No, the box blocked stitch? I can't remember. I'll put it down here at the bottom. At any rate, I learned how to do the stitch from my favorite book called Basic Crochet Stitches by Erica Knight. Love that book. If you don't have it, I highly recommend looking into it because it's a fabulous book if you want to learn new stitches. Okay, so we're going to just jump right in and get started. The first thing we need to do is create a chain. And we are going to be using multiples of 5. And in our base chain, we are going to add 4 after we do our 5. So I already did one swatch and I chained 20 because 20 is a multiple of 5, and then I did an additional 4 stitches. I'm going to make another swatch exactly like this, and we're going to pretend that these are our panels as we move through the tutorial. So without further ado, I'm just going to get to chaining. Again, we're going to be using multiples of 5. I'm going with 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And if you don't know how to chain, I have a tutorial for that. If you're a very, very early beginner, check out that tutorial. Okay, so we've chained our 20, which is the multiple of 5, and now we are going to finish by chaining another additional 4. This is going to make our turning chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we are ready to start our row 1. And row 1 is always the hardest, so it's okay if things feel a little bit fiddly. The first thing we are going to do is a double crochet into the 4th chain from our hook. So here's our hook, here's our first chain, second chain, third chain, and our 4th chain. So we are going to double crochet into that 4th chain from the hook. Whoops. See what I mean? Fiddly. First row is always fiddly. From there, we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're also going to skip 3. 1, 2, 3, and work into that 4th chain with another double crochet, and we're going to do a second double crochet in the next stitch, and that is our repeat. And you see we're creating these little boxes just like in our example. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and skip 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to work into that 4th stitch, or 4th chain, excuse me. There's 1, and here's 2. Sometimes, if there's something to hang on to, like I'm using my ring finger here, sometimes I hold on to my project that way, and it helps me to hold it flat while I work. So that's a little tip. Okay, so I'm chaining 3 more, and now I'm going to work into the 4th chain. I'm going to skip 3, so 1, 2, 3, work into the 4th one. With a double crochet, and now double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to skip 3. 1, 2, 3. That leaves us with 2 stitches left, and we're going to work double crochets into both of them. Whoops. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there it is. Make sure I've got the right stitch. Really struggling to get that in there. There we go. There's one. And now our last double crochet in the first row, and then the first row's done. Hooray! Such a long row. Okay, there we go. So our first row is done, and you can see we've got these we've got these little boxes. So in the next row, we're going to build into the boxes, just like we did in the swatch. Okay, so second row, chain up 3, 1, 2, 3. Turn your work. And now we are going to build 5 double crochets into this window here. See this little window? Like these are our little shutters here. These are our windows. We're going to build 5 double crochets into that box. Now you might think, but we only have 3 stitches there, and that's true. But we also have a stitch on either side that are going to make our math work. Okay, so there's no chaining or anything. We've chained up our 3. We're just going to go right into it. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, 4 double crochets, and 5 double crochets. Now, we're not going to chain or anything. We're just going to start right into the next box, and we're going to work the same thing, 5 double crochets into that next little box, that next little window. Here's 2. Here's 3. Running out of yarn here. Here's 4 and 5. And we're going to do the same thing in the next block. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's not flowing very easily. It's being stubborn. And it's trying to give me yarn vomit. No, not that. Okay, there we go. That should give us a little space. Okay, now we're going to build right into the next one. Again, there's no chaining or anything. You just go right into the next block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our last stitch in the round, we are going to put a double crochet into the top chain of our turning chain here. So this is our turning chain, and we're just going to build a double crochet right into the top of that. So I like to turn my hook and use it to grab the stitches. And work my double crochet. And that is the end of round 2. Okay, let's work up to round 3 now. We are going to start every row. I think I said round earlier. I meant row. We are going to work every row the same way. We're going to start it the same way with a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and turn your work. Some people chain after they turn their work. Some people chain before they turn their work. I don't think it really matters, but I'm one of those people that chains and then turns. Doesn't really matter though. Okay, so what we're going to do in this third row is we're actually repeating the first row. Okay, we are going to use our first chain as a stitch. It is going to count as a double crochet, and we're going to put another double crochet in the next stitch. Now this used to confuse the heck out of me. I used to think that this was the first stitch, but really it's not. That's where the chain is coming out of. Our first stitch is right here, and you'll be able to see it really easily if you just remember that our first stitch went into the little window. Okay, so that is our first stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and pull through 2 to make your double crochet. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we are going to work a double crochet into the last stitch of the little window that we put in. So we put 5 across. We're putting the first stitch in the first one, the last stitch in the last one, okay? After you chain your 3. So another double crochet. All of our stitches are either chains or double crochet in this project. Okay, now we're going to do another double crochet right into that first stitch of that cluster, that window cluster. So there's our double crochet, chain 3, and now we put one in the last double crochet, and then another double crochet into the first stitch of that cluster, chain 3, and a double crochet into the last stitch of that cluster. Double crochet into the first stitch of the cluster, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and a double crochet into the last stitch of the cluster, and then another double crochet into the top chain of the turning chain. And that is really it. That is the entire repeat. It's just a 2-row repeat. So you have the one where you make your windows and the second one where you kind of fill your windows, okay? So I'm going to do that with you one more time. 1, 2, 3. Remember, we chain up 3 at the beginning, turn our work, and now in this row, I keep wanting to say round, in this row, we're going to do our 5 double crochets into the window. It really is a very easy repeat. It's the kind of project that you'll be able to watch TV or listen to a book. So here's 3, 4, and 5. Go to the next window or block. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the last stitch is going to be a double crochet into the top of the turning chain. And then you will chain 3, and your next row is going to be a repeat of the first row and the second row where you make your windows. Okay, and if you can't remember how to do that, just rewind and go back and watch it again. And I'm sure you probably have it by now, but if you don't, just go back and check, and you'll see it gets to be very, very easy the more you do it. Now, in the blanket, I used a different number of chains to start with because I wanted my panels to be 7 across. You can make your panels as far across as you want, but in mine, I did 7 little windows across. So it would have been 7 times 5 for my starting chain, which is 35, plus an additional 4 stitches. So is that 39? So that's what I would have started out with my blanket. Again, as long as it's a multiple of 5 plus 4 in your starting chain, you'll be good. Also, for length, I used an entire skein for each color. The skeins I was using was Premier Basics, which were 200 grams. And for most of them, I could get about 45 rows, but for one of them, I could only get 43. I'm not sure what made the difference. I was using the same size hook. But I went with that lowest number because I needed the same number of rows for all of my panels. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this swatch so that it is the same size as this, and then I will show you how to join and how to do your border. Okay, so I will be back with you really soon.